is up? A unplanned bag and board and hangout because I've still got some books to bag and board, but I didn't really plan this one. So hopefully some people will join in the chat. Hopefully some people will want to hang out. Normally I prepare these things the night before and get a few people on to begin with. Hopefully I get some suspects to join me. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I thought I was done bagging and board, and I thought I had maybe about 20 books left. And then I found a whole nother stack that was not bagged and boarded. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to hang out for a bit. I need the hours at the moment. I'm so close. I'm less than 200 hours away from my 4,000 view hours. So, yeah, just that's why I'm doing so many live streams recently. They do help. But, yeah. I'm just going to hang out. Hopefully people join in the chat. Hopefully someone jumps in. And I might just do an open invite to people in the chat even if no one joins. See what happens. Anyway. No one's watching yet. How do I do this? I just got a message from Sarah. Oops. I didn't send her hearts back, so she's mad. There you go. 4 hearts. Hey, Bubs, what's going on, mate? Be better if you were in here. Yeah? I reckon it'd be better if you were, like, hanging out in here. You should do that. It would help a lot because you're the only person watching. What do I just do? All right. So, yeah, I got a lot more books still to bag and board that more than I expected. So, we'll see how we go. Batman 120. So, I've got to restart. I've got to start reading Batman again. And this is where I'll be starting at 125. I think I'm actually up to maybe 123 or something, but I'm going to skip a few issues because I'm not really enjoying the Williamson stuff. Where is my tape? Come on, Bob. No one's going to watch if you're not here. All right. I'm also running out of space to store my comics these days. It's getting pretty bad. Do I need to make it easier for you, Bob, and post the link in the chat? He's just getting ready. I'm sure he's just powdering his nose at the moment. All right. Is this the last issue? I think that's the last issue of Tynan's Joker, maybe. And then they're starting like a new series, The Man Who Laughed or something like that. Maybe The Man Who Stopped Laughing. I can't remember what it's called. All right. eBay notification. Okay. I've been buying my eBay books, getting them sent to Bubs, but I think it's time for Bubs to send me the package because I did another giveaway win. I won another giveaway, from DJ Links. What's going on, Dope? Yeah, it is a good cover. Yeah, I won a giveaway from DJ Links the other day again, and it was a fat stack of books. So it's going to cost me a lot of money to send these books from Bubs to me, but I save money every time. What's going on, John? Thanks, mate. You been going to the city much, John? Been raining a lot. All right. Look who's here. Whoa, what's this angle we got going on here, bub?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not a lot, mate. Not a lot. Didn't really have this planned too well. I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to go live and see what happens. What's this angle?
I'm working late, so I joined on my phone.
Oh, okay. So you're still working?
Yeah.
Wildly working.
I'm still working. I'm working overtime. What are you talking about, man? I should have been off 6 minutes ago.
I just when I read this. Why did I rebag it?
Maybe you're trying to sell it. Maybe it was no good.
It was so Slumber. I kind of enjoyed the first issue, and then I'm positive I read this, and I didn't enjoy the second issue quite as much. So it's about like dream police kind of thing. Like people have nightmares, and then they go to this group who can enter your dreams and kill all the monsters in your dreams.
I'm sure it was fantastic.
It would have been, it would have been better if the art style was the art style reminded me of Rick and Morty, which is what kind of put me off a little bit. Like I thought it was a kind of a cool concept, but the art made it feel, I don't know, like a kid's cartoon.
Right.
Which I didn't like. So get rid of that bag. Hello.
Hey, hello.
Thanks for keeping me company. Wait, so when you work from home, do you not? I mean, how does that work? Like, you don't have hours, or you just have to get X amount of work done in a day?
I have hours. I start at 7 in the morning, and I finish at 4 in the afternoon. So that's like my time, because where I work is on Eastern time. So to them, it would be 8 to 9. So I work 7 to 4, basically. Same time everybody else is working.
7 to 4. That's early.
Yes, it is.
I prefer starting early and finishing early, though. I think that's we got Black Friday coming up, and we're opening a lot earlier. I think I'm starting at like 7:45 or something like that, and then I get to finish at like 2:45 or something like that. That's good.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
On those crazy days, like you guys don't have Boxing Day, do you? So we stole Black Friday from you.
Okay.
So we used to have what's called Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas.
Okay.
And that they have it's like end of year sales. So Boxing Day traditionally was like the busiest day of the year. Like I'm talking like we have like this roller door, and my favorite thing is like as soon as the roller door starts to open, the first guy, like you have crowds lining up out the front, the first guy will crawl under the thing before it even opens all the way up. It's crazy.
But so what's the difference between Boxing Day and Black Friday?
Well, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, and Black Friday is the last Friday of November.
Okay. So Boxing Day is like the return day? Like people are bringing returns back?
Well, yes. Yeah, we get a lot of returns on in that week after Christmas.
Right.
But we've just always had sales the day after Christmas. So it's kind of like end of year sales kind of thing. So a lot of people, I guess maybe people who aren't as financially well off, may come and get Christmas presents a day later, you know?
Yeah, why not?
But it's sales like crazy, and it's literally nonstop from start to finish all day. And now, since we adopted Black Friday, we've probably done Black Friday now for maybe 3 or 4 years. Could be longer, I don't know. But, it's become busier than Boxing Day because it makes sense. You want to do all your Christmas shopping before Christmas, so people come in at the end of end of November, and it's crazy. It's like from start to finish all day. You just do not stop. But that's why if I start earlier, I leave earlier. So as soon as it hits my time, I'm just like, yeah, because all day it's so busy. Customers are standing there not getting served because there's only so many of us working there.
Right.
And you'll have literally all day just people staring at you, giving you a death stare like, is someone going to serve me? And it's like, mate, It's kind of like in Wayne's World, a lot of people's girlfriends are in there. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
you need to calm down.
That's messed up.
Does art make or break a book for you, Bob? Of course it does.
Interior art,
Yeah.
it can break a book, but it can a good book can be made by the story or the art, but a bad one of either can break a book too. So
Yeah.
I guess the thing would be if it has amazing art and a bad story, I can probably still enjoy it. But if it has a if it has a really good story but terrible art, I probably won't enjoy it. Like I have a hard time enjoying it without good art. So there you go. How about that?
Definitely can ruin it for me sometimes. There's sometimes the art I don't love, but I can handle it. But I'll give you an example. Sanimation. What's going on? Sanimation really, I think she started reading Department of Truth, which is like a big conspiracy book thing. I read the first issue and I didn't mind it, but the art was too much. The art felt like it would have been fine if it was like a dream sequence, like it was a very messy art. But it was the entire book is like that, and I just couldn't handle it. What's going on, Beckerman?
That's no good.
So yeah. But yeah, that's the same thing with Slumber. Like I feel like the art changes the mood of the book. Like Slumber could have been like a serious kind of story, but the art just made me think Rick and Morty. So
right.
Yeah, so a lot of people like the art in Department of Truth, but apparently there was one issue that was like completely like normal, but yeah, the art is just it's a lot. I'm sure I really want to get. I used to love conspiracy theories and all that, so I would really like to get into that book, but
I thought the covers were tasteless and ugly. Like people were picking them up, I think first because they liked the covers real well, and then they liked the stories, and I couldn't. Just looking at the covers, I was like, those are terrible, and everybody was picking them up. Like everybody was like, oh, and I got the new Department of Truth, and like and then I think did Frizen have a run on those?
No, Frizen just had a first issue.
Oh, okay. Well, that never helps a book. So I thought they were all terrible, just tasteless and gaudy and cliche. I don't know, all of it. Everything about that book wasn't for me, at least on the cover. Now I know a lot of people said some of the stories were better than others, but I couldn't get past how crappy the covers were.
All right, I'm gonna drop a link in the chat if anyone wants to hang out with the boys. So Santa, you feel like hanging out? It's been a long time, but yeah, here comes the link. Put your penises away, and you know about that thing, yeah, Bubs? When someone's trying to frame me.
Yes, I believe I do recall that. Didn't Sarah just put it to rest? She said she saw it and it wasn't the right color. Is that what she said?
Well, yeah, it was a white dude. So.
Yeah, and she said that she knew for sure that normally half of your carpet is red and the other half's black, and she said they didn't even get that right. They didn't even try. Oh man.
All right. Art has to be really distractingly bad for me not to get into a good story. Yeah, well, that was Department of Truth for me. It was such a mess, and like I said, it would have been fine if it was like a dream sequence or a flashback kind of thing. That's what the whole book felt like. But then I kept reading, I was like, it's not. This is just how the art is, and it was too much. It was too much. Hey, Brian, what's up? The link's in the chat if you want to take your pants off and join.
Or not. I mean, you can join, but you can leave your pants on too.
You never have your pants on when you stream. What are you talking about?
I generally do. I have a faux leather chair, so that's about an hour and a half. I'm scared to get up. I'm not wearing any pants.
So my gaming chair, right, which is also faux leather, it's completely messed up. So like the part where I guess my thighs, my hamstrings, whatever, sit against, like it's all the leather's all cracked and it looks like a 1,000-year-old chair. And I was like, why is this chair like this? And one of my mates from work was like saying, if you ever wear shorts or anything, when your skin touches it, like the moisture eventually creates it to just crack and stuff like that. What he said. So
I can see that.
Too late. Pants already off. Oh, okay. Sean, if you feel like hanging out, the stream is just a few things up. So yeah, I had no plan for today. I just need to bag and board some books. And I need the hours. I'm so close, Bubs, to 4,000 hours. Yeah.
Cool.
And then I'll be swimming in my 20 cents a month. I look forward to it.
Not even that much.
Did you reach? You hit 4,000 hours, yeah?
I had my hours before I had my subs.
Yeah, see, because everyone who has like a regular live stream, I feel like, gets the hours before they get the subs.
Yeah. If you put up an hour show a week, that's a lot of that's 52 that's 52 hours. So or what? Yeah, 52 hours a year right there. So not counting anything else.
Just over the weekend when I did the last bag and board and hangout plus my stream, I did 2 streams in one day on the weekend. I did my bag and board and stream, and then I streamed with Sarah that night, and I released a video the night before that, which my top 50, which got a decent amount of views. I went up like 100 hours. I was like, oh
wow,
okay. So
that's how to do it. I mean, I was putting out a weekly video that got about 100 views. Even in the beginning, it would get about 100 views. You get about 100 views, weekly video, that's 5,200 hours. So it's not hard to do.
Yeah, but also you got to remember how many hours people are watching of that video. So it's so crazy. You release like a 3-minute video, and all of a sudden the average watch time's like 45 seconds. You're like, what? Am I that?
Yeah, people watch live streams longer. At least they do on my channel. So it works out. Most people, like the average view time was like out of that hour was like 25, 30 minutes for the average view time. So that's pretty good.
You're very engaging, Bubs. Well, I don't think I captivate audiences quite as much. So
I think you do every time you have me on.
Yeah. Well. I am less than 200 hours. Tyler, I know Tyler said he made a playlist with a bunch of my videos to play.
Oh, so cool.
I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm on 38:15. I think last time I checked. So
nice.
Yeah, because when I didn't really do a lot of live streams. It was very random. Like I could do one once every month or two. And then I remember when I hit 1,000 subs, I looked at my hours and I was like, oh wow. I thought people watched my videos. I was only on about probably 2.5, bit over 2,500 when I first hit 1,000. So, but then once I hit 1,000, I started trending upwards, like just constantly.
Right.
So, that's a good thing. And now I find that my average views are kind of like where I want them to be, I guess. Like all I ever wanted was to have like an average of at least 100. I was like, if 100 people watch my video, each video, I'm happy with that. And, every now and then I'll still, produce a dud. But most of them, like I did my Hero Academia card box opening, and not many people watch that. But most
I skipped that one.
Yeah. Well, it's a different thing. It's anime, not comic books. But a lot more people in the comic book scene are getting into anime.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with those people.
I thought it'd be right up your alley, mate.
I don't really care for the art style.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I like the art style. The odd thing is, like, it's all very similar. Like all manga artists, it's kind of like they all just draw the same kind of style. I guess it is a very specific style, and I feel like people who don't like Art Germ, I feel like people who don't like Artgerm, what they're talking about is his real digital looking anime girls that he draws.
Yeah.
But he's got such a good range, man. Like he can draw photoreal stuff as well as that digital stuff. You know what I mean? Like the Catwoman,
Yes.
Michelle Pfeiffer, the Catwoman one where with the, you know what I'm talking about, issue 4 with the thing. So yeah, because you've got a lot of stuff to say about Artgerm, I'm sure.
No, not very good, so I don't waste much time on them. No, I mean look. I have some art germ in my collection, so it's not that he has different art styles. Some of it I like, some of it I don't like, and a lot of it is I find it very soulless. Not the whole art, but just like the facial expressions just look dead behind the eyes. There's no life to them, and I think that's really where some of the art for me. I really enjoy facial expressions and a lot of emotion. Something that looks real to me as far as communicating an expression. And I find that most of our germ stuff is terrible at that. It all looks very plastic, fake, and not just the art style, but the emotion that should be coming. And then every now and then he does a good one, and I'm like, oh, see, he can do it. He just doesn't do it. It's kind of like Jenny. It's like, to me, art germ eyes. He can't do eyes. They always look dead, like dead eyes.
Has Matilda said that many times as well?
Jenny Frisen's smile or Jenny Frisen's teeth are just as bad as Rob Liefeld's feet.
Oh,
those three things run together. Let me tell you, show me a good Rob Liefeld foot, and I'll say, okay, now show me a Jenny Frisen mouth that looks proper, an open mouth.
What do you mean? You showed a good Rob Liefeld foot. Remember?
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare. You can still throw the challenge out there. Good luck, right? But yeah, Jenny Frisen can't draw an open mouth. She doesn't know what to do with the teeth. She doesn't know where to put the expression in the mouth. So like everything she draws looks like, and then she can't do skin tones. They just look like dead bodies. So if you're a necrophiliac who enjoys closed mouths, which seems silly to me, then Jenny Frisen is the artist for you.
I understand that because I remember one time you were saying about the coloring.
Yeah.
And that's what you really dislike, right? Because that's what gives it that kind of dead look,
I guess.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder, because you can always tell a Jenny Frisen cover, not just necessarily by her art, it's more the color, the way it's colored that you can tell that it's Jenny Frisen.
Yeah, the way it's poorly colored. I agree. I only have one Frisen in my collection right now, I believe, and it's a black and white.
What about that Catwoman one you bought with the...
Got rid of it.
Oh, this guy.
I couldn't keep it. I kept looking at it, and I was like, nope, it's not. It still looks like dead skin. Nope, no good.
But the thing with Artgerm I like is like he is like you can't necessarily like I find his real digital looking stuff. You can tell it's an Artgerm, but there's a lot of his stuff that you wouldn't have picked. Like I think that cover I sent to Russ, the Gal Gadot one. There's a Gal Gadot cover which I thought was a photo, and then Mark was like, "No, that's an Artgerm." I was like, "What?" Like, I couldn't believe it.
What are you calling her?
Gadot. Is that what you say?
Yeah, that's it. Gal Gadot.
We say Gal Gadot is what I've heard.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Let's ask Gal. We'll bring her in. She's in the background.
I have. That's where I'm getting it from. I found a video clip of her saying her name in an interview, and she said her name was Gal Gadot. And I sent it to Russ because he changes it every video. Like he would say Gal Gadot, Gal Gadot, Gal Gadot, and he just keep messing it up. And I said, man, we've got to find this out. If this is your celebrity crush, you need to know how to say her name. What if you ever meet her and you don't know what to say to her? You know. So we hunted it down. We got it. We got a Gal Gadot. We got it cleared up.
That's like My Hero Academia. I used to always say My Hero Academia, and I think that's what everyone says. And then for some strange reason, I started calling it Academia because that's how it. I mean, when you read the word, that's how it should be, Academia, right? But everyone says Academia.
It should be.
Yeah, everyone calls it Academia or Macadamia. And for a
Like a
little
nut?
while, My Hero Macadamia. So so for some reason in the last few months I kept calling it academia, and then randomly I've all of a sudden gone back to academia.
Looks good.
Yeah. My Hero Macadamia.
That doesn't sound too bad. Did you just take a picture of your own thing and put it in there?
What?
You just put the stream link up there?
I'm trying to see if anyone wants to hang, but I think because you're here, no one wants to come in. So
I can leave.
No, you hang, mate. You're captivating the audience right now. They're staying.
You're welcome. You're welcome, audience.
So what about let's talk more about artists. What about Nakayama, man? Because Sarah I can't it's starting to hurt my feelings because her and a friend from work, they're both like gang up on me and keep like showing me like
that video
his covers and then like zooming in on their faces, and they're like, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that face. Like, what are you guys talking about? I remember you specifically talking about his faces a little while ago, saying that it's like he likes to draw like girls who have like half Asian, half.
Yeah, he mixes it. Look, my problem with Nakayama is that I collect his books, and then when I do my culling of the collection, like his books are usually at the top of the list of books to let go. And I don't know why. I think it's just because I don't find it. I think it's good. I do enjoy his art, but in the end, I don't end up keeping them. Like they're not unique enough. They kind of look like interior work on a cover. Just a little less detail, a little unrefined, a little cartoony, which is okay. You know, I would like that for interior work. That'd be fantastic interior work. Could you imagine reading a whole book filled with that kind of artwork? It'd be awesome. But for a cover, it just doesn't really do much. And he only does pinups. And I kind of get a little tired of pinups. And I know that's saying a lot because I've got a huge collection of pinups in the pinup covers. But my favorite ones are the ones that are a little more unique or tell something of a story. You know, Adam Hughes pinups about 50-50. Some of them are just plain pinups, and other have more detail and more interesting things going on, either in the background or the foreground. I like Frank Cho, and a lot of his are kind of jokes or a little bit of a story on there some way, or a different art composition and multiple characters. So I like that a little better. But so far, Nakayama, unless he has to do multiple characters, and even when he does, it's still a pinup of like 4 characters stuck together, but yet not really engaging with anything. So yeah, I like that. So is that a pinup or not? I mean, to me, that's like 2 pinups stuck together. Like he could have drew those separately and then just cut and pasted them. They're not really interacting. There's nothing really going on.
Is there anything wrong with that face? There's nothing wrong with that face.
Yeah, it's a little derpy.
Don't be on Sarah's side right now. If she watches it, she's gonna give me so much shit.
Oh, she didn't get past when I said prison sucked. She already turned it off. What are you talking about? She didn't even get this far.
Wait, did you get rid of the one I gave you? I gifted you a Nakayama book. Is that gone?
The only one I have left.
Oh, really?
I think. I might have 1 or 2. And I still buy them. Like I've got the Gargoyles one on order, so I'm looking forward to that one coming in. So, I mean, I'm still going to buy them, but it's just that, I don't know. I think in the end, like I have a big Adam Hughes collection, and then I sell a few off, and I kind of regret it. And I'm like, I don't want to sell any more Adam Hughes. But like with the Nakayama ones, I get a big collection of them. I sell a lot of them off, and I don't miss them. So, like, I'm not like, oh, I should have kept that one. Like, so far that hasn't happened. So, also Frank Cho, I had a bigger Frank Cho collection, and I sold off some of the ones that weren't as good, and I don't miss them.
Did you keep the Nakayama Red Sonja one?
Yes, I love that one. I love that one, and it's a black and white variant too. So I really love it.
Because I remember you saying like you don't see the blood or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It
Look,
just
I
be
can just
mud.
pretend it's mud.
Yeah, because mud's okay.
Yeah, mud's okay. Absolutely.
You're like a dirty girl, not a bloody girl.
Exactly. You got it.
Mate, some of these books are so wrecked from sitting in a stack. Like this one here has got. Don't ask me why I got this book, but it's got massive like spine thingy there from like. Just
I think I know why you got that book.
Yeah.
You're a Keanu Reeves fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, man. For a while, when I was younger, I would say that Keanu Reeves was my favorite actor. After Bogus Journey, for some reason, I was like, Keanu Reeves is my favorite actor.
Wow.
So when he became like an action hero, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like Speed, I was like, man, Keanu Reeves doing it. I guess Point Break as well. Like Point Break, I was like, man, he's so cool.
Yeah, I think so. There's car chases, gunplay, some stunts, surfing, I guess, is action. Yeah, I think so.
Can you remember the chase scene in it when he's like chasing Patrick Swayze?
Oh, and he busts his knee when he jumps over the wall.
Yeah,
and he comes down to his knee.
They're running through people's houses and stuff. And
Yeah.
there's this one bit where Swayze throws like a bulldog at him, like a dog.
Yeah, I remember that.
He catches the dog and he drops it, just punts it. He just like drops the dog into his foot and punts it. It's
That's
so
fine
funny.
acting right there. And wasn't Lori Petty in that Tank Girl?
Yes, Laurie Petty was the female lead in that one.
Yeah, she was hot in that movie. And Tank Girl, she was not.
Nah, see, Tank Girl, that's my type. That was what I was into back because I like those alternative looking chicks, you know?
That's too alternative. I mean, what's the alternative to a good looking girl? A not so good looking girl. So there's at some point you got to drop the the routine there.
There it is, mate. You know you miss it.
I really don't. There were a couple of things I didn't like about it. The other thing is that when I originally got it, I thought maybe she had long hair. But the more I study the hair and the way it flows, if she does have long hair, it's hidden. And I think it might be short hair.
No, it is short hair. I actually always thought it was long too, but until you said it. But if you look at hang on, let me just bag this. I've got 2 copies of it. So if you want one, if you want another one, mate.
I'm good. Hold it for me.
Oh shit! I got 3 copies.
That happens to me too. I don't blame. Not of Jenny Frison. I'm not that silly, but yeah.
So if you actually look at the side there, it is short.
It is short hair, right?
But she has like a long fringe on the other side.
I have very few short hair Catwomans in my collection. So, and I think they're all Adam Hughes. So there you go.
He does look down on me, Werewolf. Bubs thinks he's
Werewolf by Lunchtime. Who's saying that? Werewolf by Lunchtime?
Yeah.
I can't see the thing. When you're on the phone, it's hard to see comments.
Yeah, sorry. I've got my bags over my keyboard, so it's hard to highlight stuff at the moment.
Oh, I see. You better clean your room, Simon. I don't care how simple you are. You better clean your room. Yeah.
How much work you still got to go?
Well, if I wasn't yakking with you, I'd probably been done 20 minutes ago.
That's like, man, when I did my bagging and boarding the other night, the previous times I bagged and boarded 100 books in an hour and a half. It took me 3 hours the other day because I was just like distracted. There we go. Great
oh
color.
My gosh. I just saw $25 of wasted money flash in front of my eyes. So I'm trying.
Here, mate.
Oh, I know over there. That's without shipping. I'm trying to get my wife to take a trip with me in February, but she keeps saying no. I'm gonna have to come up with another something else to entice her. But trying to get her to come with me. I'm trying to get her to go to Perth. I'd like to visit Perth for Valentine's Day this February. Yeah,
of
Perth.
all places in Australia, Perth. Don't tell Mark Cutty-Shark that, but of all places, Perth.
Why, is that too far from you? Where are you at? Or how far are you from Perth?
Well, I'll just say, if you're going to go to Australia, and again, no offense to Mark the Cutty Shark, but I don't know if there's a lot of
Isn't Werewolf by Lunchtime from Perth also?
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Werewolf. Sorry, Werewolf. I always think of him as a Pom. I always forget that he's in Australia. Well, a Werewolf could vouch for me, right? I mean, how much stuff is there to do in Perth compared to say like Sydney or Melbourne or even Queensland for that?
Yeah, but how far are they from each other?
They're like a different state.
Yeah, but like driving wise, like would it take me 3 hours to get from Perth to Melbourne?
No. Let's have
Like
a look.
10 hours?
Let's find out, shall we? If anyone in the chat is Aussie and can tell me the answer, I'm out. Sorry, Werewolf. I'm joking. I've never been to Perth. To be honest, I can't speak for that. But, I'm just saying.
Hey, I should get extra points for remembering he was from Perth. I should get some kind of extra points for that. I don't even live in that place. Look at that.
So Perth to Melbourne drive. Time. Can I put time? Um, 37 hours.
Shut up.
37-hour drive.
Oh my God. I had no idea Australia was so large.
Yeah, you can't just drive to another state in 3 hours. Like
Well,
even just to Sydney. I mean, Sydney's like pretty much right next door, and it's 9 hours to Sydney from Melbourne.
Damn. Yeah, but then you guys must have like some sort of express flights that fly back and forth to the cities, right?
Probably, yeah. Like a flight is only about an hour, probably to Sydney.
Yeah, well, not to Sydney. Like if I was going to Melbourne, from Perth to Melbourne,
Perth to Melbourne flight time. Let's have a look.
probably like 7 hours.
Flight time. 3 hours and 35 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. How much that cost?
Werewolf already knew. I don't know, man. I never leave town. I haven't gone away for ages. Every time I go away, it's normally like through work or something. I don't have to pay for anything, so I don't know how much things cost. Although Sarah's been wanting to go to Queensland for for a long time, and it's just like I feel like going on an interstate holiday. You're just spending money that you could put towards an overseas holiday.
Well, is Queensland and Perth close to each other?
I think Perth's closer to Queensland. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I'm not very good with my geography. Perth.
Well, you shocked me once again.
Perth to Queensland. It's about the same flight time. It says about 3.25 hours. So.
Okay. Oh well.
Well, yeah, Perth's one of the places I haven't been, actually, to be honest. I don't think I've ever been to Perth. But my friend was like staying in Perth for a while. A friend of mine, he used to. Oh, maybe I shouldn't tell you.
I guess he left because you were mean to him.
Yeah, sorry.
So he left.
I wish I could hang out with you and Bub when he comes. But one of my friends, I think he traveled to Perth for a while, and he used to call me. So he did this thing where he wanted to travel Australia on the dole.
Mm-hmm.
The dole is like your welfare, right?
Yeah.
So he literally, like, he was homeless for a long time, and he just lived on the streets and stuff. But he wanted to travel Australia with nothing but without working, essentially. But anyway, I think he was working when he did get to Perth, but he was just telling me that there was nothing to do there when he was there.
Wow.
So it depends what you want to do. If you just want peace and quiet, maybe Perth. If you want,
I want to go see a UFC fight.
Oh yeah, mate,
they're doing a UFC fight on February 12th.
Yeah, with Volks.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were a UFC fan.
Why? Oh my God, it's like a religion in my house.
Really? Did you watch the fights on the weekend?
Yeah, we watch them all.
Wow.
Yeah, we watch them every weekend. Yeah.
You know, I used to do MMA videos. I stopped doing them because no one watches them, and also they're terrible. But I wanted to start a separate MMA channel where I do like top 5 videos and stuff like that. Just because I felt like for a while it's too neat because I wanted to be able to do everything on my channel, right? But the nerd thing was the main focus. But I can do nerd culture videos and then do a random video that anyone can watch, like eating 10 custard pies or weird things like that, or a vlog that's going out. But I feel like MMA is too much of a niche category that not like you have to be. Yeah, there's not many people who are going to watch that if I'm mixing up stuff. So I've been thinking about starting a separate channel so I can start doing those videos again. Because I mean, I've dropped off. I'm not as hardcore as I used to be into it. Like I used to watch all the smaller organizations and stuff like that as well. But now I just stick to and sometimes on the smaller cards, I sometimes only have time to watch the main card. I don't necessarily watch all the preliminary fights. But yeah, man, the Islam versus Oliveira.
Yeah, Makhachev. Yeah.
So that one, I had money riding on 4 fights, right?
Yeah.
So because I always, when I bet, I always bet on underdogs. I always do a multi on a bunch of underdogs. If I think the underdogs have a chance, then I'm like, okay, that's good. That's a good bet. I'm going to bet on that. So I had money on Dariush beating Gamrot because I was like, Dariush is good.
I love Dariush. I think Beneil Dariush he probably is my favorite fighter, even though he's not as much of a personality as some of the other ones. But as far as like his physique and his technique and his other ekes, I think he ekes out the competition.
He is the most well-rounded. I think he will be the biggest challenge for Islam, to be honest, skill-wise. Because, I mean, you saw in that fight, that other guy was Islam without the strikes. He was just going for takedown, and he could not get him down, right? So anyway, I was like, why is Dariush underdog? He was like a massive underdog. I was like, I put money on him. I put money on Sugar Sean. I wasn't.
Yeah. So you're the one who paid off the judge.
So that one, I was lucky. Like literally, when he won, I was like, I didn't think he won. But when he won, I was like,
no, he didn't win. I mean, there's no way he won that fight. It was ridiculous. And somebody got paid in Dubai. That's all I know.
So there was that. And in the main event, I already knew the result because I usually work on Sunday. So I go to my friend's, he gets the pay-per-view, and what he does, he records it, and then he waits for me to come after work. And watch it together. So I already knew the result for the main event, and I had money on Islam. And Islam was the favorite, but I didn't have faith in Charles. I was just like, Islam's going to win that, right? So I'm 3 from 4 going into the co-main event. So I was like, holy shit, I'm about to win $700, right? Because TJ is going to win this, right? Because TJ was the underdog. And then first 30 seconds, shoulder dislocates. And I'm like, I was so upset. And then when he came out afterwards and said he was injured, I was like, I want to
back in April. He said he hurt him. He said he blew out his shoulder back in April and wouldn't get the surgery because he wanted to fight.
I want a refund. I was so upset, man. I only bet $25 and I would have won $700 because I did 2 bets and they were pretty much the same, except I added Islam to one of them. So one of them was Dariush, TJ, and Sugar.
O'Malley.
Yeah, and then the other one was the exact same bet, but with Islam as well. So I would have won like 300 on one of them and like 400 on the other. And I was just like, oh, so upset. And then yesterday, I mean, on the weekend, I only had on 2 because what's his face? I bet on.
Now wait, hold on, because I only caught the last 2. I only caught the last 2 fights. This Saturday because we had my son's birthday party, so I only caught the last 2 fights. So I saw the girls fight.
Yep. Gangster.
Oh, there was no way she was going to lose that fight because that other girl didn't deserve her belt to begin with. Yeah, that was pathetic.
Well, look, Carla was definitely good back in her day, but she's all
no, it's not about that. Did you see the fight with her and Thug Rose? They looked pathetic. That was the worst MMA fight I've ever seen in my life.
It was, but I thought Carla won that fight. Even though nothing happened, she did more than Rose.
I don't know how you score it.
She did like 3 failed takedown attempts, but at least she went for a takedown. Rose did nothing.
The whole fight was nothing. That was the worst. That was the worst fight I've ever seen in MMA in a title card. It's the worst in a championship match. the worst championship fight I've ever seen in MMA in years.
I don't
It was
think
pathetic.
Rose didn't have any right to complain about it. Afterwards, she was like putting her hands up, like, "Yeah, I won." It's like, man, you didn't do shit, and I don't think you won.
Neither one of them. Whoever won, the other one could have been like, "What? How did that happen?" Because it was ridiculous. Neither one even fought. So I knew for sure. I mean, give me a break. I mean, when you saw Rose fight, what's her name, Waylene?
Yeah.
When you saw them fight, they fought twice, and it was like murder out there. I mean, they were trying to kill each other. It was they were both great fights.
I thought Waylene won the second one.
Yeah, that was close, but at least it was close. It wasn't as bad as the O'Malley decision, but it was close. I wouldn't have said that Wayley got robbed in that fight, just the way the judges saw it.
She won.
You thought she won for sure?
Yeah, I thought. Oh, well, it depends. Like,
that was almost a year ago. You know, that was almost a year ago. That was a long time ago.
But yeah, like Wayley versus Carla, I was like, man, if Carla takes her down, Wayley would just bench press her off and like get back up.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Oh wow! Oh, I've been to MMA. That's crazy.
Oh, love it. We watch it every weekend. We watch the down cards. Sometimes I don't do the early prelims because that starts at like 3 o'clock or something crazy like that.
I don't even get the early prelims here. Although I might have. So we have a sports app here called KO.
Okay.
And it's a sports streaming app. So I use my friend's account. I don't pay for any streaming service. I'm a tight ass. I just use it. I use all my friend's account. So that's how I'm able to watch all the free events. But last night I tried to, because I want to watch the prelims of the weekend. I only watched the main card at my friend's house, and then my friend mustn't have renewed his subscription to KO. So I was like, damn it, I can't watch the prelims because I heard it was pretty good prelims as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm probably going to watch them Wednesday or so. That's what we usually do. Like if we miss the prelims, we'll watch. I'll watch the prelims on another night later on in the week because they don't really go over who won or lost the prelims, so it's easy to avoid spoilers on that.
I get
so I'll watch. Yeah, so I'll watch it on the app later in the week. We'll watch it, and then so that's what I do. So like if we miss one, but you can't do that with the UFC numbers because those are pay-per-view. So I have to watch those live. I don't get a replay on it. Well, but you can still, but you can still watch the prelims on replay. And for the number of pay-per-view fights, they have early prelims. So we'll watch the early prelims one night, then we'll watch the main prelims another night. So we kind of space it out.
For some reason, they never have the early prelims on the KO app or so we have cable service as well. They don't show the early prelims either. I remember the early prelims used to be on Facebook back in the day.
What? I didn't know that.
They'd be like free on Facebook. Just the like 2 fights as the early prelims. But yeah, I don't follow it as strongly. Ever since I started YouTube, I guess I haven't followed it as hardcore as I used to. Because I used to watch like Michael Chandler when he was in like Bellator, and Justin Gaethje when he was in World Series of Fighting and things like that.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that stuff. Yeah. I only got into it after UFC proper, and I don't really watch too much of every now and then we'll put one on and we're just like the production value. It's like watching cheap porn or something, it's just not, we've evolved from that. We want to see better production value.
No, sometimes cheap porn can be okay. It's about the performers, right? It's about the fighter.
Lighting has a lot to do with it. Okay.
With the, like, for example, that's why a lot of the guys when they came into the UFC, and again, when they come in now, I don't often know as much about, like, even Connor. Like, I knew heaps about Connor when he first came. I was a big fan because I heard about him making noise in the like local circuits, so I went and watched a whole bunch of his fights, like when he wasn't like no one,
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys would come in, and like Gaethje, I was like, I don't think this guy's that good because he was in World Series of Fighting, and yes, he beat everyone, but he was like having these slugfests and almost losing to these nobodies, So I was like, how's he going to hang with these guys? And then he comes and proves me wrong, obviously. But
right,
yeah, pretty crazy. Hey Neil, what's going on, mate? Speaking of McGregor's, there's one for you, Neil.
I'm not crazy about Connor. I liked Conor McGregor. Okay, when he was still fighting and winning, it was fun to watch, and it's kind of a spectacle. But like, it really means more when you watch him lose to see how they
he
handle
reacted.
themselves.
Yes.
And
he
like,
handled himself well, and then it stopped. So when
yeah,
he first lost to Nate, it was fine. And the first Poirier fight, he was very respectful. And then it's just
it got bad
downhill from there.
Yeah, it got real bad, and that's just not fun because you want to root for him, but then when he loses, you want to feel sorry for him, but you don't feel sorry for him when he loses because he's an asshole. I can't handle that. So I thought that Adesanya did good. I thought he was good. Yeah, I'm at work.
He was winning. So I wanted. Yeah. So I'm not like, I like watching Izzy. I don't necessarily love Izzy that much because, again, obviously he's very cocky and stuff like that. But he's good to watch fight. I wanted him to win this because I had money on Pereira,
right?
But I wanted Adesanya to win because Pereira's not the best. Pereira can beat Izzy, but mate, you put Derek Brunson in there against him, and he's just going to get raped. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But
yeah, I think Izzy has a fast path back to the belt because I think he'll go. They might even do a rematch right away. I wouldn't be surprised because they do that a lot when someone's held the belt for a long time. So,
and Izzy rocked him at the end of the first round.
Yeah, I mean it was a good fight. It was a good fight, but in the end, this guy just has a certain way about him that apparently, I mean, this is his third time beating Adesanya. It's his third time. First time in MMA and twice in kickboxing.
But in MMA and also in the kickboxing fight that he got knocked out in, Izzy was winning both fights until he got finished.
Yeah, isn't everybody winning until they lose? I mean, you kind of got it. That's the point, right?
3 champs are winning fights and lost in the fifth. Who's the other one? I know Kamaru. I had money on Edwards too to win by knockout against Kamaru, so I won good money on that one. On the
Usman.
Yeah. Norman Red did MMA for 4 years. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I did. Oh fuck, he actually fought. Okay, 5 and 3. Fuck, that's crazy. I trained Muay Thai for about 2 years, and at no point was he interested in taking a real fight. Like, I was down to do like we did sparring and stuff. They used to have like these inter-club challenge things where you would like go and do like, I guess, an amateur fight, but they would not like. I think they didn't want you to go out there and try to kill someone. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going crazy hard, they'll say, "Hey, you need to chill out." I would have done one of those, but at no point did I, because I was already like 30 at the time. I was like, man, I don't want to get hit in the head by someone who wants to kill me. So I just had no interest. But my friend who I used to train with, we both started together. He was like, no, I want to fight. I want to fight. I was like, dude, like, why? Yeah. And he got knocked out in training. like so. 150 pounds. It's funny because I'm a heavyweight these days. But realistically, I could probably get down to 155. I think 170 would be ideal for me, but
I think I could be a light heavyweight at best. What's that? 165, I think, or
light heavyweight's 205.
205? Yeah, I could do that. The lightest I've been like as an adult is 235. But that's not with a training camp. So I mean, with a training camp, I think I could get down to 205. Yeah, but that I'd look weird. I don't know what I'd look like, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's funny when so one of my mate who is my cameraman at the convention videos that I do, he's lost heaps of weight. So like recently, I found a video of us showing up to a convention, and I'm like skinny, and he was big. Like, I was like, holy shit, because now he's lost all the weight. And it's funny because at first he kind of looks sick. Like, people were like, is he sick? Like, but no, it's just he put in the work. And yeah. And it was funny because I saw that video and I was like, oh, it's like we've reversed roles. Most people.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Oh, well, yeah. No, that was the fight of the year. Glover and
Glover Teixeira.
Oh, that was so good. So Glover, right? I had
Glover.
Oh, I call him Glover. Right? Give me a break.
He's not Danny Glover. He's Glover.
Glover.
Who?
I had when he first came to the UFC, I was like, he's the man. He's going to beat John Jones. I was like all over it. I was like, he's gonna knock out John Jones. And then John Jones, he did that weird thing where he like hurt his arm. Is that how much Simon's prison collection weigh? Hey mate, I thought you were off. Aren't you going to work?
that pile of garbage is so big they won't even take it off the curb. He's got to take it straight to the dump himself. Ugh. That's what I said.
But yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I was thinking I was gonna start up if I can be bothered, but I would like to do it because I miss making those videos. Because I had a whole bunch of videos in my head, like doing top 5, like my top 5 favorite fighters, and then like my top 5 GOAT list and things like that. And then I could do live streams where we just talk about fights. It'd be great. And now I know.
Holler at me.
Huh?
Holler at me. I never miss one. Really.
That is crazy. Simon is right. Bubby's weird. That's right.
Who said that? No, yeah. Well, he's met me in person, so he knows just how weird it gets.
Paulo's here. Sorry, I forgot to.
Hey, Paulo.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's the next big one? The next big one is the Glover rematch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that fight I think was fight of the year for sure. That one.
Well, so are you saying that you don't think that I should go to Perth then on the 12th?
Well, no. If you're going to go for that reason, then yeah, sure, right. But as soon as that event's over, you should get the hell out of there.
I'm not going to spend, another $1,000 in flights to run around the whole country. Once I'm there, I probably need to get home, don't I?
Well, how long are you planning on coming down for?
I figured I'd do about a week. So somewhere like the end of one week to the beginning of the next, because you guys' dates are kind of funny.
I would say it depends what you want to do while you're not watching UFC. Like if you want sun, fun, and beaches, then you go to Queensland. If you want, I guess, a bit more of a nightlife, then probably Sydney and Melbourne. Like Melbourne's good for music. The music scene here is very good. And Sydney's okay for that too. I feel like there's more douchebags in Sydney, but that's just me, maybe because I'm from Melbourne. But yeah, it just depends what you want to do. But I would imagine, like, it's like saying I'm going to go to Australia. And again, no offense, but I'm going to go to Adelaide. It's like, why would you go to Adelaide? We went to Adelaide, and you know what? Adelaide was fun. I went there with my band, and it was the best interstate tour we ever did because nothing happens in Adelaide. They know how to party. Like anything that rolls into town, they're like, oh, like we just had like randoms walking past the pub going, what's going on in here? And they would come in and have some time and stuff like that. And like some random tradie walked in by himself and he bought one of our band shirts. And then later on, he was throwing up in the toilet. And I asked him, hey, man, are you okay?
Did you say a random tranny?
A random tradie.
What's that?
A tradie's like, Werewolf, you still there? Explain a tradie. A tradie's just the guy who does like trade work. He's like a concreter or like a bricklayer or something like that.
Yeah, I got you. A tradesman. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So just some random dude. And then I just remember later on, like I walked in the door and he was just on his knees, like spewing in the thing. I was like, hey man, you okay? And he was like wearing one of our shirts. I was like, oh, sick. You bought a shirt.
He's going to need another one.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Fast. But what do you mean? Well, what didn't you say you fought at 150? Wouldn't they be faster at a lighter weight? I would imagine. It's like, do you think Volks has a chance against Islam?
A week. Someone's never traveled internationally. No. I'm saying spend a week there. That's what I was saying. I would only be there like the middle. Like I know it's going to take days. So what I'm saying is spend a week there. So we would leave out one weekend from the States we'd end up there somewhere around Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And then stay till like the next Tuesday, Wednesday, and then travel back. Travel back to the States and then go to work that next Monday. So I'm talking about being gone 2 weeks from work, but probably only being in Australia for a week. So that was the idea. But I get a day back when I when I go there. I'd score a day.
That's true.
So that's how it works.
It pretty much takes you're going backwards, aren't you? That's really
yeah. Like I get a day on the way there, but then I lose a day coming back.
Look, I wouldn't put money on Volk, but Volk always surprises me. Like this, I didn't think he'd beat Ortega. I didn't think he was gonna win that last match. I mean, I think he had a chance against Max in the last fight, but I didn't think he was gonna just roll him, like just steamroll him. Like that was like he owned him. Like Holloway had nothing. And the funny thing was, Holloway is always the guy who's like crazy. He talks a lot in the cage. Like, when he's fighting, when he was fighting Kelvin Cato and he's like yelling, "I'm the best boxer." And he does a lot of that. He does a lot of that, trash talking a little bit while they're fighting. And Volks was doing that to him. Volks was going, "Mate, you can't touch me. I'm too fast."
Right.
It was so good.
All right.
Yeah, see, I hope Volks doesn't bulk up too much for it. Like, because already he's a bit of a tank. He used to be like 200 pounds or something when he was a rugby player.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him. I think. I don't think he's got a shot. I don't think he's got a freaking prayer.
Yeah, I don't. But I don't know. I hope he proves me wrong. Hope he at least puts up a fight. But I don't know.
I don't know either.
It is.
I don't know why he'd bother.
Oh, hang on, just 6'1". Not rad. Yeah, I sparred a dude once, and he was probably 6'3". And man, this dude, he just kept kicking me in the body, and it was the only time ever after like a training session where I felt like throwing up. I was just like, "Fuck!" I punched him once.
Did you say you threw up after a training session?
I was close. Like he kicked me in the body so many times, and afterwards I was like, "Man, I feel like I'm gonna throw up." But he was there. He was like a super tall dude. I landed a really good punch on him because he did something. Right? I don't know what he did. He did something where he missed, and he just landed right in front of me and kind of stopped. He just kind of stopped for a second. It was like we both stopped and just looked at each other for a second, and then I was just like, "Boom!" and I cracked him once. But I nearly threw up.
Nice, I guess. Kind of getting a little Mandalorian out.
Really? I love it. I just think.
I love it too, but as far as the comic covers, I haven't seen any that I'm like, "Oh my god, I gotta have that."
I like the concept ones. There's the one with the cat on it, and fucking Mark forgot to order it for me.
A cat?
Or either that or he gave it to someone by accident. There's like a weird looking cat on it. It's from an episode. As soon as I didn't know what it was from, and then Mark's like, "It's from the episode where Gina Serrano was in."
Oh yeah, okay. I liked her. I wish they'd bring her back. I liked her a lot.
Freaking cancel culture, mate.
It's ridiculous. It's the Aussies behind it all, I'm pretty sure.
I'm disappointed, but you buy so many of them. Chaos.
That's a lot of disappointment.
Yes. Have you been watching Andor?
Nope.
It's interesting. I'm interested always to hear people's thoughts on it because from what I've gathered, because I've been watching it, and for me, like it's funny because I've been saying to people who really, really love Star Wars, love it. Like they think it's the best Star Wars thing that's ever been made. Yeah, so real Star Wars fans love it. So I think it's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and what are you, right?
It's super slow, which I get, but like the episodes that are good are cool. Like so, it's like in the beginning, it's like every third episode. Yeah, I won't. Sorry, Werewolf. I won't do any spoilers. But it's like every third episode was good. So it was like 2 episodes of build up, and then the third episode would be good. And then there was another 2 episodes of build up, and then the third episode was good. And then they did 3 episodes of build up. So I was expecting like them to. Do you want me to drop this one out? Oh,
Yeah.
you can just. Oh, Bubception. Oh, that was definitely Bubception. It's very slow but very well made. But yeah, just the things that happen. Like the last episode was the best episode by far, episode 10. But I was expecting that to happen in episode 9. So in episode 9, I sat through another kind of slowish episode. I was like, man, this is rough if you're not like really into this.
We're watching. I think the only thing we have left is Lord of the Rings. So we're watching that right now, Rings of Power. And it's like, it's Lord of the Rings. So if you really like Lord of the Rings, which is a lot of like slow, cheeky humor, if you really like that, then there's no reason why you wouldn't like this show. But it takes a little bit like I hate all the Hobbit crap, and it's slow and it can get boring, and everyone's so very self-serious and important, and then you have really silly, childlike, innocent characters, and that kind of gets to be a bit much. And then like it's so formulaic. It's like, okay, so what's going to happen? Somebody needs to go somewhere, but before they do, they're going to give a speech about how everyone should follow them and what they should do. Oh, I tell you, good folk, you should do this, you should do this. And everyone's like, yeah, we should do it. Yeah. And then somebody else is like, oi, I think we ought not do it. I think you should follow him. And they were like, oh, yeah, well, he makes a good point. Yeah, we shouldn't do it. We should follow him. And then they all do that. It's like, all right. I just get bored with it over and over again.
Yeah, I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy. I've only seen the first movie, and it was a long time ago. I don't remember it.
Oh, yeah. This
wasn't my thing. What about Game of Thrones? That new Game of Thrones show?
Yeah, we watched it. We enjoyed it a lot. It was good.
Was that done already?
Yeah. I didn't think it's finished, but the first season's over, yeah. Or maybe they'll split it. HBO does. They'll they give you 5 episodes and then take a year and a half off and give you 5 more. And
did they cancel that? Wasn't there supposed to be a show about the Penguin from the Batman? Did they cancel that?
Show? Like a
show. It was supposed to be an HBO Max show, I think, about Colin Farrell's Penguin.
Oh, God, I hope not.
But it would have been interesting. Oh, shit. My cat's sitting on me.
Your cat's peeing on you.
No, she's sitting. I didn't realize she's sitting under me, so I nearly stepped on her. Yeah, what's the next show that's coming out? I
don't know. I better close my window back here. Somebody's gonna peer in and see all my good stuff. All right, hold on.
It didn't look like it was open.
It's open.
Penguin show is still in the works. Okay.
All right, back.
Looking for his. Oh, hang on. Whenever I turn to Penguin show is still in the works. If anyone wants to join, because I know Bubs is probably going to run off eventually. He's got his own show to do soon. The link is there. He did something else recently that I want to watch. I haven't watched one of his movies in so long. Did he do like a horror? Most of his films are kind of horror, I guess.
Now what?
Your window looks the same. Are you talking about the window in the background?
Yeah, I had the blind. It's like a double blind system, so I have the in-between blind was open, so people can see if they're driving by. It's got dark already, so it's so bright in here, people will be able to see me. I don't want that.
What was that record player that you were using? I saw you post on IG.
My record player in the living room, I just got it. I was very happy with it.
Oh, it's a new one. Are those speakers? So normally, because that came with speakers, yeah? Like the speakers are built onto the unit, right?
They're built in, but I have it running through my surround too.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, because usually when you get a record player that comes with speakers, like built into the system, it's normally not great speakers.
Yeah, they're not. But I wanted to get something that had some built-in speakers anyway, because for Christmas albums, then I like a very small sound. Like it's more nostalgic and kind of more quaint. And I don't need like Christmas music rocking through the whole house. I just want to have it in a little space of the room.
Like
that
Christmas
way
music?
you kind of hear it in the background. So that's why.
Oh, man. I thought I would have done more by now.
I know. I slow you down, don't I?
I'm definitely running out of space, mate, for these comics. I definitely need to. I think I need to just put something on eBay, sell it, and once I get the money, I'll be like, "Oh, that felt good," and then I'll just get the hang of it. Right?
Good luck with that.
No, it's not that easy.
It's not that easy. No, I don't think so. I think what happens is that it has to be something that you didn't care about. And maybe you'll get to the point where you don't buy as much stuff. You start recognizing the things that you can do without. But your collection doesn't really, or this is for me. For me, my collecting habits didn't really correct themselves as far as I'm concerned until I realized the one simplest truth for me was that I can love something and enjoy something and not own it. So I can say, that's a cool book. I like that book. I like that book. I like that book. But do I have to own that book? Well, if my collection is trying to be a book, every book that I like, I'll never have room for that. That collection would grow forever. There'd never be an end to it. It would just be an ongoing collection and it would fill up a whole house and I have to buy another house to fill that one up. Because I like too much. So it has to be something that I really like, something I don't see that often, something that has some value, maybe a book that's more expensive or some kind of value to it. It has to be something about it. They can't just be a comic, because I have a lot of those already. So yeah. And that's when my collecting changed. That's when I stopped picking up, 20 books every week kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, look, I'm getting to the point. Like, I'm definitely finding I don't buy many doubles anymore. That's very rare.
Other than the 3 you showed earlier.
Yeah, well, that was from a while ago, right?
All right.
But yeah, but if it's got,
it needs to have at least 2. So like I stopped buying ones that only showed 1. So yeah, filler.
Yeah, Alex. So now when I do my ordering, I still order a lot of first issues because it's just stuff I would like to check out. And if the first issue gets me, I might just get it in trade later. Or if I really love it, then I might continue on. But I think it's going to get to a point, I'm hoping anyway, where I literally just have like my 5 favorite stories on my standing order, my pull list, and then that's it. That's the goal I would like to get to. Like, so I'll probably have Batman just because character-wise. I'll probably have Nightwing for as long as Tom Taylor writes it.
And when you say Batman, you don't mean everything with Batman in it, right? Not
no,
all
just
17 publications a week by DC.
Just the ongoing.
Okay.
Like Something's Killing the Children, I think I'll always probably get. I really like Nocterra. But I'm behind on all those series at the moment.
Like Norrad's saying, there's no wrong way to collect. But there are inefficient ways to collect. There are wasteful ways to collect. I mean, I don't think it necessarily makes it wrong because there's no moral high ground here. It doesn't make it wrong, but it can make it expensive, cluttered, cumbersome. And, if your hobby should be more good than bad, it should have you should feel better about it. When you think about it, Like if I say comics, I should be like happy. Oh yeah, I love my collection of comics and I love thinking about my collection of comics and going through them and everything. But if I said comics to you and you're like, comics to me now means 12 short boxes on the floor in my kitchen. Like if you're at that point where when you think about comics, the thing that it bothers you because there's so much that you have to do and it's a burden in your life now. And when you think about going to a convention or to a comic shop and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy these books. And then your next thought is, where am I going to put these? And I'm stressed out because I haven't read. I'm so far behind on the other 10 series I've been trying to get into. And, you know, if it gives you anxiety and you're like, oh man, it's just too much, then you need to think about it. It's not that you're collecting wrong again, but you might want to change the way that you collect so that you can be happier. That's all.
Yeah. So I got to a point, I think it was just after my dad passed, and I was like sitting in my room with all my shit, and I was like, fuck, I got so much shit in here, man. I was like, what am I doing with it all? Like, I definitely had that moment for a second. So, and yeah, I mean, you know how much I drop every week, right? I mean, I could be putting that away and then going on a holiday to watch UFC in America.
There you go. Come on. I'll meet you in Perth.
A friend of mine won. So his wife entered a Facebook competition for him and she won. And it was a trip to, I think it was Vegas, to a UFC event. They got to visit, they got like the full VIP treatment. They got to go to the Performance Institute and walk around with Forrest Griffin. And he met all these fighters. He got to go to exclusive parties and stuff like that. And you know which event it was? It was the one where Masvidal knocked out Ben Askren with the 4-second. He was at that event. And yeah, just the photos. He met at the Performance Institute. He got a photo with Usman. He got a photo with Ngannou. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. I'm jealous.
Yeah. I would be too. I am. It's I don't know. That's what my wife said. She was like, why are you wanting to go see UFC across the world when they happen here in America all the time and you can just catch one here? She was like, let's go there for some other reason. So if that's the case, then we don't have to go to Perth. We can go somewhere else.
Well, have you been to a UFC event in America?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
we've never seen it live. You know, I've been to mixed martial arts live, and I don't enjoy it as much as I do on TV, like generally.
Yes, no, that's what I was gonna get to. Yeah, so
yeah, the viewing angles are not great. It honestly, to be around the people isn't so great. Sometimes they're very drunk, you know, like extremely drunk.
I went to one UFC event. So when they first came to Melbourne, I went, and it was the Ronda Rousey Holly Holm fight, right? And again, I had money on Holly Holm to win by knockout. $300, no worries. But yeah, so we sat, like, it was in a football stadium, right? That's where they had it here. It was such a big event.
How could you even see?
It sucked. Like, literally the whole time you're just watching the screen at the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the funniest thing was, it was awesome because obviously Ronda at the time was at her peak. Right?
Oh, sure.
And everyone was like a Ronda simp for some reason. Me and my friend who went, we were like both going for Holly. And I was like, Holly's going to knock her out because Ronda doesn't like getting hit. And so when she got knocked out with that kick, like everyone around us was just like that. And me and my mate were just like literally like hugging each other and shaking each other like, yeah, this is crazy. And everyone else was just like in shock. It was the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say, like, I would rather, like, I'm glad I did that, but I would rather just sit at home and watch it on the screen so I can see what's going on. Like,
yeah, I'd like to go to one once.
The atmosphere is cool, but
I thought it would be cool to go to one in another country just because it would be a different thing. Like, then if there were bad seats or I didn't get a good angle on the fight, then at least I was still in a new place and it was more, you know, more of an experience than just the fight. Cause I reckon the fight probably won't be that great to watch. I'd rather have seen it at home.
So. Well, they announced the co-main event's going to be Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. So that's 2 title fights is pretty good.
I think it'll be a nice one, but I think Volk's gonna get his block knocked off. I think he probably gets to the second round, and then I think it's over. So,
but how crazy would it be if he couldn't get taken down in that first round? If he couldn't get taken down, do you think he could outstrike Islam?
and I think the weight difference will get him. Because, I mean, trying to bulk up to that weight and having
you already be at that weight. Like, I guess.
Yeah, he'd be there naturally, but you're still taking a champion, right? Who has a routine. And what made him a champion is that routine and that skill and ability, of course, as well. But putting all that into a routine. And this will break that routine. Because instead of the normal camp that he has where he's real weight conscious and trying to make weight for the weigh in and, you know, drop those 10 pounds. Instead, he's going to be like, I can get as big as I want, you know, and I don't know if I just think it's different. I mean, it's not that no one's ever done it. So it's possible, but dude, that's hideous. Why would you want to own that? What the hell is that? There's like 18 Killing Joke
done by Boland,
variants. Why would you want that?
This is done by Brian Boland.
So
I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I like Brian Boland, but that's terrible. Didn't he do the original cover to the Killing Joke?
Yeah.
So he's already done his best work on that concept. You didn't pay $10 for that or something, did you?
I don't know what I paid. Probably all books here are about $10.
Oh god!
And now prices have gone up again. So
paper is expensive. Run out of trees every day.
It's just, I think the shipping and everything, like, especially because Mark doesn't order like as much as some bigger stores and stuff. Like, yeah, they're charging him a lot. Now I won't show you that one.
Look, now you're scared to show me because I'm judging your collection. Oh, look at that.
The next one I'll show you. The next one I'll show you. I know, I'm sure you have plenty to say about the next one.
There's no telling. I like your background, all black, simple. This is working out for us.
Look at that coloring.
Dude, he looks like an AIDS patient. For real. Superman looks like he's got AIDS in that picture. He's gaunt. Ugh. That's terrible. Let me see Batman. I didn't even get to see Batman. The Batman's not bad. But that Superman's terrible. The Batman's pretty good. That Superman is terrible. Oh my God. Did you pay for that or was it free?
No, I pay for actually no. I mean, Mark gives me a free book every now and then, but no.
We'll say that was the free one then. That'd make me feel better.
What's this? Hey,
There's
Vinny,
no
what's going on?
with Paulo. French Watchmen.
French Watchmen.
I bet the German Watchmen are more on time.
I didn't enjoy Watchmen. You know, when I first got into comics, I felt like Watchmen was something I had to read, and man, it was a tough read.
I've never read it.
Never read it.
Nope.
I just thought there was, at the time, Doomsday Clock was coming out, so I was like, I want to get this. So I started getting Doomsday Clock, and I hadn't read it, but I said to the guy at the shop, I was like, "Hey man, would it be weird if I read this without reading Watchmen?" And he's like, "You have to read Watchmen." And then I read it, and man, it was painful. I didn't. Go on, Gabby. It was a tough read, but so many people love it. So many people have read it multiple. I don't know if it was Grey Man. Someone was saying how they read it like once every couple of years. And I'm like, man,
like a Groundhog's Day tradition.
Is that a good cover?
Yeah. Straddling that gargoyle, huh? There's some more darkness in Perillo's world.
Oh. All right, this next one's a good one too. I'll show you this next one. More Frizzin.
I got to go into the office tomorrow. I got meetings all day. Hey, I know you like a good Kiss cover.
All right. I can't remember if I did. I think they did Kiss covers once on cover singers, and I can't remember if I played that or not. I feel like I might have done at least one round.
They had the war. Do you own the Warriors movie?
Do I own the movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it on VHS as well.
VHS. Wow. You got it on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever?
They recently just released like a collector's edition Blu-ray. I haven't opened it yet, but I bought it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's got I think it's got the original cut, and it's also got that stupid extended cut, which I hate.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had it. It just went on sale this week here, and it's like really stupid cheap. I was like, oh man, if he doesn't have that, I should send it in this package.
But like, we have different regions, mate.
So you can't play it?
I'm pretty sure. Well, like DVDs were definitely different regions. Or DVDs, you guys were region 1 and we're region 4. Blu-rays, I'm pretty sure we're different. There's like 3 regions in Blu-ray as well. So I'm not sure if we're the same.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
McFarlane loves Kiss. They inspired Spawn.
That makes sense.
Have you seen that Kiss? I think there's a Kiss Vampirella comic book. Have you seen that?
I have no desire to see that. I'm not a big Kiss fan. Kiss is okay. I wasn't really like, that's more my brother's age, and not even my sister, more my brother's age.
How old your brother?
He's 8 years older than I am. So
okay,
it's
so that's
more.
like me.
Yeah. Huh?
All my brothers are like my youngest brother is about 10 years, 9. I think he's 9 years older than me, and he's my youngest. So, I'm the only child of my parents, but they've got kids from their previous marriages. So the ones on my mum's side, they were all like 80s mullet metal rocker guys. So they got me into all that sort of stuff when I was like really little.
Cool. Yeah, we didn't. They were into all that. I didn't really get into it. I missed it.
I got into it because of Bill and Ted. God gave rock and roll. Is Bob's the only person here that doesn't like this cover? Tell me, chat. Is that a good cover? Let's look upside down. You don't like it?
I mean, look, if you like it, you love it, right? Like, if you're a Jenny Frizzin fan, that's about as good as a Jenny Frizzin cover generally gets. There's actually one Jenny Frizzin book that I want. There's one. And it's a money shot variant. I forget which number, but it's got some tentacles, some space tentacles, and a girl in a space suit and a bubble helmet. And I dig that kind of stuff. And it looks really good. And it's colored blue and pink, as opposed to whatever the heck that dead skin look is she gave Poison Ivy. So yeah. And I love that book, and I can't find it. Like I don't have, I'm sure I could if I wanted to spend $25 on it online, but I'm not going down that route. I just hope to find it.
Is it just the standard cover? Oh, is it one of the black bag covers, or is it just standard cover?
I think it was a black bag cover, because I think the girl in the spacesuit might have like some pokies or something. I like Greg Land. Greg Land's one of my favorite artists. He knows how to draw. He draws a hell of a lot better than Jenny Frizzin, I think. Well,
did you see
different styles?
He's doing those Star Wars New Hope.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Covers. There was that one where Luke has no nose on it.
Yeah, they're absolutely terrible. I picked them all up on pre-order, and I didn't even show them in a haul because they're never staying in my collection. So I'm like, I'm not showing this. This is going straight into the sale pin.
Then I don't understand why you buy those books in the first place, because
I didn't know they were sight unseen. I pre-ordered them.
Yeah,
they didn't have the images yet. So, and I have to pre-order something to keep the box coming every month. So I just took a shot.
All right. Give me a sec. I'm just going to quickly go grab my final pile of books and then.
All right.
Keep him entertained.
While Simon grabs his pile, I'll keep you entertained with stories from Bub's World. Let's see. Yeah, but the comics are inside the world. It's a wholly Bub's Comics is a wholly owned subsidiary of Bub's World. Entertainment Inc.
I didn't even realize you changed back. I was like, I watched the video, and it wasn't until I went to comment then I noticed that you changed it back.
It happens.
See, you never should have changed in the first place. People need to think hard about their YouTube channel name and just be happy with it.
Well, I didn't know I was going to have a channel for very long. Like my first couple of videos are just like under my name because I didn't know. I just had
So you changed your channel was just under your name, right? And then you changed it to Bub's Comic because I started. So I've still got my channel under my name, and then I started this as a completely separate thing.
Yeah, maybe I did that. I don't know. I think I changed it though. All right. All right, Simon, I'm sorry. I spent a half hour with you. I got to eat. Don't eat. I got to eat and then get on my No Faces chat, which you're welcome to join if you're done bagging and boarding or you just want to do it in the background.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, man, do I have to? I did my top 50 video recently and I am sick of digging through my fucking boxes, man.
I don't blame you.
It is killer.
Don't eat.
If I've done with this, I might drop in. We'll see.
All right.
Because no one else might want to not hang out with me, so we'll see what happens.
I don't blame him. I mean, I'll see you later.
All right, mate.
All right, Simon. Thanks for hanging.
See you, mate.
See you.
Bye. All right, now I'm gonna post the link in the chat for the 5th time. If anyone wants to keep me company, I've still got a few books to bag. There it is. It's much more entertaining when I'm not by myself. Although you guys are chatting at least, so at least I got something to talk about. Old Wolf. Just saw this. Can't hop on. Mate. What'd you tell me that for? You may as well just lurked in the background. I guess I'll show covers until someone maybe jumps on, if anyone wants to hang. Everyone goes silent. I want to send out a link. Someone come save me. Come be my friend. I literally have no room left to put my books in them, but I'm just like they're stacked on top of other books. Hey! Hello, what's going on, mate?
What is up?
Long time no hang. It's been a long time.
No hang, yeah. Well, with the 8-hour difference. Or 9.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's 9.
What time is it for you?
Right now it's 11:30 p.m.
And what day? So you on Monday night?
It's still Monday.
Crazy. Yeah.
About a year ago. Yeah.
Sorry?
About a year ago, I was doing customer service for a food delivery company, and we had to answer complaints from the American market and the Australian market. So yeah, we had some very weird schedules. And you think the Americans are more? You hear the Americans are more belligerent because of them suing everybody, but the Australians were actually bigger complainers.
Oh, okay. It's hard to line up streams with you guys over there because it's like every time Grey Man does a stream, it's like 3 a.m. here. So
yeah, I mean, on Fridays I do the stream on Jared Osborne's channel, and that starts at my 11 p.m. So it's 6 p.m. Eastern, and I have no idea what time is it in Australia. And then I do the 4-color fossils on Wednesdays, and those start at my 1 a.m. So I stay up just so I can be on it.
Yeah. So when I if I'm on Cover Slingers with Grey Man, I normally have to get up at 4 a.m. just to be on it.
Oh man, yeah. It
only to get given like 7s and 8s from Matilda. I'm like, wasn't worth
it. Yeah, it's about 7 p.m. for us in Western Europe. So yeah. Oh, yeah, that reminds me when I used to wake up to watch the Australian Grand Prix, and that was at 3:30 in the morning.
What else have you been up to, man? Anything new?
Yeah, we have Comic-Con Portugal in about a month from now, and I was asked by one of the organizers to host a panel. I volunteered for 2, so I'm still waiting for the confirmation. because last year I did a panel with Mike Grell, but because of COVID and the travel restrictions, he couldn't come, so we did a virtual one. He was had a camera pointing at me, and I was watching him on television, so it wasn't as fun. But so it's going to be, if I do. So he's supposed to come for real this time, and I volunteered for that one. It's going to be fun.
That's cool. So wait, do you get to choose who you want, or they just say, "Here, this is"?
Yeah, they gave me the choice of 4 people. I volunteered for 2, so I probably will do those 2. There was one that I could have done, but probably not a good idea to hog everything. So I'm gonna do. So if it goes as expected, I'm gonna do Mike Grell for real this time, and Gene Ha.
That's cool.
For the younger generation, Mike Grell wrote and drew the cool Green Arrow stories.
I know a guy who's this other Aussie YouTube channel. He gets to host a lot of those panels. I always wondered how they get those gigs. What's his name? Adelaide Toy Collector. I've seen him host a couple of panels at those things. I had my own panel once. That was a good experience. Because we have a big convention here called Supernova. So we got the 2 big conventions is pretty much Oz Comic Con and Supernova. They're like the big, I guess, more comic book related ones. And yeah, the owner from Supernova, not the owner, sorry. He's like one of the event directors or something for Supernova. He shops at Big City Comics as well. So I was actually able to meet him through Mark, and then he watches the channel, and he offered us a panel once. I was like, all right. And then he offered one last year as well, and I was like, I'm not prepared this time, so I'm going to pass. Like the first time we did a talk just about like getting into the hobby of comic books for beginners, like that was what the panel was about. And then when he offered me the second time, I was like, man, I don't know what to do now, because I don't know. And Mark was like, why don't we just talk about movies? It's like, no one's going to come to a panel if we're just talking about movies. It needs to be like, a topic that's interesting for people. And I think like comics for beginners was a good one, because that's kind of like what my channel's supposed to be. So
yeah, well, you can pick a topic from one of your like talking about your favorite comic, and you try to find an angle for it, and then you expand it into something else.
Yeah, I think his idea was just like doing like an episode, but it's got to be an episode that's at least somewhat engaging for people to want. Like, I was surprised people came to the last one. Like, I was really nervous that we're going to be doing a panel in front of nobody. Hey Russ, what's going on, mate? Links in the a little bit further up if you want to hang out. Yeah, because I was just like, man, what happens if we do it? Because some of the conventions, they have the panels kind of out in the open, so where everyone's like, where the convention is, there'll just be corners where there's stages. But this time it was in like its own little section of the convention, so you have to walk into this room like it's like it's separate to everything else. But people came, which, like, I had a lot of friends who came, but there's a whole group of other people who actually came to the panel, which was good. It was
it's a good thing that we actually have comic panels in Comic Con Portugal, because that thing is 99% non-comics. But one of the persons the person that contacted me, she's been working in comics for 40 years. Her father was a publisher and writer back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and now her kids have their own publishing company, and they're doing this collector edition versions of French graphic novels, like really big and with the complete story. And they're a bit expensive, but they're worth it. So they are there to make sure that there's interesting things going on with the comics. Otherwise, the guys in charge of it would just go with, let's get some secondary actors from shows that were canceled 5 years ago.
Yeah. So how many? First, I just want to show this cool little Brady Bunch homage. How many actual comic stalls are at the cons that you have?
At the Comic Con Portugal, there will be 0 comic book stores.
Really?
Yeah. They can't afford to go. The other conventions we have, they're more like art exhibits, but the stores do go there. The one that I was at one, we had one about yes 3 weeks ago, and there were about 6 stores in there. The publishers usually go there and try to unload the back stock from their warehouses. But they also have new stuff, and we actually have something cool here because my comic shop owner, my LCS's owner, he's also a publisher, and he created Portugal's first IA generated comic.
AI generated.
AI generated. Yeah, this was made. He made this on an artificial intelligence website. It's 16 pages. And it's about mustaches.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I read an article about the AI creation stuff. Like,
Mhm.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but we also had an exhibit for Spider-Man's 60th anniversary, and they invited a bunch of people to come, and only one said yes. Bob McLeod, who he inked Craven's Last Hunt. So everybody was asking him to draw Spider-Man because of it, but because I'm not a pleb, I showed up and asked him to draw Cannonball, and it's really, really cool because he created the New Mutants with Chris Claremont.
Yeah, I remember watching one of your videos that you went to some. I don't know if it was a convention or just a fit. Like, it was really small. I remember the room was looked quite small, and there was like
Yeah.
one famous artist or something there. I can't remember what it was. A while ago.
Yeah, that was about 4 years ago. It's in
Couldn't have been
Coimbra.
that long ago.
Yeah,
I
and
haven't been on YouTube for 4 years, so it wouldn't have been that long ago.
No,
I think you were
but-
going there to get something from this guy, though, signature or whatever it be.
yeah, so yeah, the Jason Aaron was not
Jason
well known then. So he had a Vertigo comic called Scalped, and with the same artist, he created something for Image called what was that thing? It's the thing set in the Garden of Eden. The Goddamned. And the artist came. He's a Serbian artist living in Barcelona in Spain, R.M. Guerra, and I had to leave the book with a friend of mine who was there to sell stuff because I waited over 2 hours in line. And he was taking half an hour with each sketch, so that thing was not moving.
Yeah, I had we had Kevin Eastman come here, and it was the only time I ever, because usually here when you go to the conventions, the comic book writers and creators, you don't have to pay for their signature or anything like that. They're just sitting at a table. You just approach them. There might be a small line, but not really. But when Kevin Eastman came, you had to pay for his signature, and the line, I lined up, I think, for 4 hours, maybe it was 3 or 4 hours, and it was the worst experience of my life. I'll never line up like that for someone again. I don't care who you are. I'd rather pay someone to go get it for me because my toe went numb for like a month. I stood in a spot. I didn't move for an hour. The line didn't move for a whole hour. It's crazy.
Yeah. The thing is, whether you pay or you don't pay, artists never seem to they may have been doing this for 20 years and they never seem to realize they have to figure out a way to do sketches quickly because the people will appreciate it even if it's a quick one. But if it takes you 20 minutes to come up with a sketch, most other people are going to just be pissed off with the time that it takes.
Wait,
because otherwise don't do sketches, just sign.
But they're charging for their sketches, right?
No, they're in Europe. They don't.
What? Hang on. So, have you got like an art collection?
Not really. I can't afford it. But sometimes I get a few of these sketches. I don't even know where most of them are. But I have about 5 or 6. So what I usually do, since most of the books here are graphic novels, they will sign the first page of the book, because here's another one. So one of the books published by my LCS, they had the second volume published here, and it's this guy here, Osvaldo Medina. This guy is the greatest comic book artist we have in Portugal right now, and he's not working for any foreign publisher, and he needs to, because he's really that good. And so he draws in the white pages at the beginning of the book, and he did this sketch, and it's amazingly detailed, and it took him like 3 minutes to do this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is so talented. It is so quick, and he managed just doing this one page sketch in 3 minutes. He was even telling a story. And but that's how they do. They use this first page. It's graphic novel, thick. The first in these books, the first and the second pages are usually just white, and they draw there, and they do it, and they send them out to us. They say, to my friend, whatever. So they're personalized this way. There's no, oh, just sign this so I can sell it on eBay. No, it's personalized for you.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'd like to starting to get a bit more art in my collection, but I think I prefer to get the sketch covers, just because sketch covers are a little bit well, they sit in your box well. But yeah, because obviously I'm friends with my mate Mad Spidey, and he's got the craziest original art collection ever, and yeah, it makes you want more art. But it's not cheap. Carla Cohen was doing had like commission spots open, so I messaged her and was like, how much are you charging for your sketch covers? And she just said 1,200. I'm going to assume that's 1,200 euro, because I think they're in Italy, I think. So I'm assuming it'd be euro, but I was like, oh, okay, cool, maybe one day.
1,200. Listen, no comic book artist working in Italy makes 1,200 on a comic. No, there is the thing. A few years ago, Mike Deodato is in Brazil, and he's used to working for Marvel and DC, so is probably the best paid comic artist in Brazil. But he was invited to work on a Tex graphic novel for an Italian publisher, and Tex is the best-selling comic in Italy. And by best-selling, I mean 100,000 copies a month on the newsstand. In a country of 60 million people, so if it was in the US, it'd be 500,000. But the page rate in Italy is really low, and he said no. After first he said yes, then they told him the page rate, and he pulled back. There was a bit of a kerfuffle because he had said he'd do it, but yeah, I understand. If you can't work for page if you're used to working in the U.S. market, unless you're working for something like an IDW or a Dynamite. If you try to work in a European publisher, you're not going to make any money. Of course, in France, you don't even work for page rate, because as an author, you always get royalties. You only get advances if you're well known, and it's proven that your book sells over 30,000.
Yeah, it's tough.
The French are crazy. They published about 100 graphic novels a week. Everything's a graphic novel in France.
What's going on, Mark? I mean, how many shops do you guys have over there? Like where you are specifically?
I have to go to the capital city to go to a store. There are 2 stores there. There used to be a third one, and then that one closed. Then there was a different third one. That one closed. Then there was a different third one, and that one closed. And there were 2 newsstands that were specialized in imported magazines and newspapers. They used to have comics. They've since closed. So there are about half a dozen places where they sell, where comics are their main focus throughout the country, and about half a dozen which are mostly either games or Funko Pops, but they also sell comics.
And you guys just get the standard American prints now, right? Everyone,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's just standard now, right? But back in the
Yeah.
day, it was more like you get foreign editions and things.
Yeah, when comic shops started here, one started to import French books, and another one to import American comics, and that's and mostly whichever shops opened since then. This was in the '80s. They were dedicated mostly to import U.S. comics. We never had much of a market for back issues, and there's not that many people who can afford the prices on some back issues, so they don't. But people who want back issues, they go to eBay and buy bundles, or guys getting rid of their entire collections.
Yeah, same here. Like, look at this guy still hanging around. Same here. There's not a lot of. I mean, there's a couple of shops that have like a good back issue selection, but not like, yeah, mostly like Mark, for example. He's got back issues, but I wouldn't call it a great back issue selection. He focuses on new release and trades. The store that I really dislike, which is Alternate Worlds, they have a fantastic back issue selection, mostly online. But the problem is they don't offer it. You can't just go to that store and then rummage through their back issues. They have it all cataloged online. And then, so you can buy it online off them, right? But it will take them like a week or so to pick the stock. So I've ordered from them before, and 3-4 days is probably the quickest turnaround time I've had. But I've had like Sarah, she ordered some books from them, and it took them like 2 weeks, and then she had to call them. It's like, hey, have you guys got this order ready for me? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll have it ready for you. And if you go in there and ask them and say, hey, you've got this on your website, can I get that? A lot of the times they'll just be like huff and puff and like, oh, are you serious? You want me to go get that now? Like, just order it online kind of thing. It's like, man, what kind of business are you running here? And there's another shop called Comics R Us that have a pretty decent back issue selection.
One of the third stores who went out of business, that's the facsimile. You know what must suck? Being a fan of Zatara and knowing you can't afford the first appearance of Zatara because there's a guy called Superman in there. The Action Comics #1 is not only the first appearance of Superman, it's also the first appearance of Zatara, Zatanna's father.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't actually read that yet. So
if you're a fan of Zatara, you're screwed because you can't afford the comic because it's Superman's first appearance.
Is this full of just short stories in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't actually gone through and read it yet, but
yeah, there's also Vigilante. You may remember Vigilante from Seven Soldiers of Victory.
Okay.
And I can't remember the other strips inside. Yeah, it's got about 5 or 6.
Good facts, mate. You always know the facts.
Yeah, but I've always been much more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. I can tell you stuff that appears in some weird Marvel Mystery Comics number 36 or something, but I'm not completely familiarized with all of the different strips that appeared in DC Comics. I've been trying to look at some of the information on the Grand Comics database, and if you look through some of the stuff that DC put out from 35 to 38, you'll find a lot of stuff that was generated by Siegel and Schuster before they created Superman. In fact, things that were sort of prototypes for the ideas that showed up in Superman appear in a strip called Federal Man. That thing started as a standard crime espionage comic, government agent hunting down bad guys. But then they started putting in science fiction elements. Then they had a it's like a precursor of the idea of the Legion of Superheroes, because there's the Federal Man of the 30th century, and then there's so much science fiction that it just became a science fiction strip, but it was still called Federal Man. And that's one of the things that they never collect, unfortunately. And I'm of the mind that everything should be available in an easily affordable collection.
Marvel didn't have a golden age, did they? Because what were they before Marvel?
Well, the names that are usually used to refer to Marvel pre 1960s, it's Atlas for the 50s and Timely for the 40s.
What was the last one?
Atlas in the 50s.
Yeah.
And Timely in the 40s.
Timely, okay.
Okay, so they started with 1939. Their first comic was called Marvel Comics. For issue number 2, it changed to Marvel Mystery Comics. Then they started adding titles. There was a Daring Mystery Comics. There was a USA started later. Captain America was like the 5th or 6th comic, the different title they put out. And one thing that Martin Goodman did, there was no company name, there was no brand. And almost every time he put out a new title, he would create a new company for tax purposes. So what was the predecessor of Marvel? They would put out 30 comics a month, but they would be from 18, 20, 22 different publishers officially. Even though everything, if you look at the addresses, it's always the same address. And it was a way of saving money. Marvel as a company does not exist before 1968, when Martin Goodman sells out to Cadence Industries, and all of the shell companies they get merged together into Magazine Management, and then that one only changed its name to Marvel Comics Group in 1973. So they were using the name Marvel as a brand, starting with Amazing Spider-Man #2. And that was like the third attempt at using the name Marvel as a brand. There are comics from 1947 and then from 1948 who use two different types of branding, and they use the name Marvel. You can find it on a corner in the comics, but that lasted for only a few months. And they only had an actual branding when Atlas started about 1952.
So Atlas, okay, because I've got some Atlas books. I think Grey Man sent me the Grim Ghost.
Yeah, but those are from the 70s. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Story time. Martin Goodman is going to retire in 1973. So the contract was, he sells out in 68. He stays in the company as one of in the board of directors for the next 5 years, and he was promised that his son Chip Goodman would then become the publisher. But the president of Cadence Industries reneged on the deal, and Chip Goodman was out. So Martin Goodman decided to create the new Atlas comics in 1974, and it was those titles that Grey Man sent you. So they lasted only for 3 or 4 issues, and they didn't last. They were not very successful, unfortunately, because it was at the time that the newsstands were getting rid of comics, and there was also those guys who were selling comics off the back of the truck, but then declaring that they were destroyed. So the publishers weren't seeing the money. There would be cancellations because of it, like the Fourth World, Neil Adams, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Howard the Duck. They were all victims of that, because the distributor would report comics destroyed. In fact, they were all sold off the back of the truck to one of the early comic shops who was speculating on them. So it was actually quite easy to find a Howard the Duck #1, but according to the publisher, it didn't sell.
It's quite interesting, because similar things like these days, because obviously I help Mark at the shop with him sorting out his weekly orders and stuff, And basically, if there's a damaged book or something like that, he has to mark down what he has as damage. I wonder how many people just like fake that. Because I was saying that to Mark, because can't you just? He goes, yeah, but it's like an honor. It's like an honor system, I was like, well, that's a bit dodgy. That means like there's definitely people out there that are dodgy who just like claim so much stuff that's not true. So
yeah, now what they do is, since there are no returns, that was a problem when they destroyed they started destroying the comics in the 70s instead of returning them. It was an affidavit, so they would sign it.
Would they rip the cover? Because I've heard something
Yeah,
like
they
rip the covers off.
Yeah, they ripped the cover. First, they ripped the covers off, and they would send the covers back because officially you couldn't sell a magazine in the newsstands without a cover price. And if you rip the covers off, they don't have a cover price. But then, and even after a while with the comics, they would just sign by my honor, I declare that these comics were not sold and were destroyed. So they wouldn't even return them. And that's how you end up with comics that were canceled for low sales, but they were all getting through the back channels to where they were not supposed to go.
Interesting.
Now then, when the direct market, when Marvel and DC started creating comics for the direct market specifically, so it's 81, 82, which is Marvel and DC doing comics specifically for the direct market is what made it relevant. The comic shops had already existed since the 60s, but the most important market for the big publishers was still the newsstand. The direct market would get the leftovers, let's say. But since the direct market, there were no returns. You sell 200,000 copies for the direct market. And then if half of those sit on the shelves, that's the shop's problem. The publisher declares, I sold 200,000 copies. There were no returns. But you don't actually know what sells and what doesn't because the shops can't return them. They just sit there.
Well, that's the same as like music and stuff like that. So when you have like an artist goes #1, they've sold X amount of million copies. That's not how many copies the people have sold. That's how many copies the shops have bought, right? So
no, well, that depends on the country because there are printing controls. There are associations that track how much you actually sell. So if you're one of the big publishers, you're a member of the tracking system, and they know how much you actually sell. But then there's those smaller music publishers, and one trick that they used to do here in Portugal back in the time when they'd sell a lot of cassette tapes, distribute 5 million copies of 5 million cassettes of your latest album. And those would get sold in truck stops and county fairs, but some of those guys, I don't want this guy doesn't sell. I don't want to sell his cassettes, so they would return the cassettes to the artist instead of the publisher.
Oh,
and that way, since it doesn't get registered in the publisher's accounting, it counts as official sales.
Yeah, I've got that cupboard back there. I've got a lifetime's worth of my band CDs in there. So if anyone wants any of that, I was on, Discogs, the website.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was like, "Oh, you should look up your band and see if they're on there." So we did that. And I found it, and like someone was selling, one of our albums for like $60-something. I was like, "What?" I've got like a closet full of those things. We found one the other day. Someone was selling our most recent CD, which is like our kind of farewell CD, for $250. I was like, "You can buy it from our Facebook page for $15. Hit me up," because I got to get rid of those things.
Oh, you're a cult hit. No, what you do is you sell those as special edition and special anniversary edition, and you charge $30 for them.
Yeah, I'll personally sign it too.
Yeah. There's a market there. You're just the one that's not taking advantage of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, that's what Sarah said to me. She goes, "Yeah, if someone's gonna, because they've actually sold, like obviously you can look at sold listings. No one's buying that for $250, obviously, but they have sold it like $25 to $30 before. I've noticed. I was like, oh, I could be getting that money directly because I'm still. The reason I have them all is because I paid for the recording for the last one, and after the band split, I was like, hey, just so you guys know, I'm gonna keep selling these CDs so I can try to pay off. Obviously the thing, because I spent like over $1,000 to get the recording done and I only made maybe half my money back on it. So it's going on Mastodon. So
for how long did you have a band?
So we started in 2001 and called it quits in 2017. It was a long time.
Yeah.
My younger years. So it's been 5 years. So it was 5 years pretty much this month that we did our sort of final. Well, we were kind of inactive for about 3 and a bit years, but we never really called it quits. And I was always trying to get us to do one last sort of thing. So it was a struggle. It took like a year for us to even get in the same room with each other. And then we recorded our final, all the stuff we hadn't recorded, we recorded it. And then it spent like another year or two before we could organize like getting together again to play a final kind of farewell show. And that was it. But I'm glad I did that because at the time I was going through some stuff for a while where I needed my band so bad. Like I wish I had it and it just wasn't there anymore. It was in the years where we were inactive and I was just like, man, I need this in my life so bad right now and it wasn't there for me. So I kind of needed closure on that part of my life too. I was like, I want there to be a farewell sort of show. And it was a good turnout and things like that. So I'm glad I did it. And then I spent about a year or two missing doing music and now I'm just completely over that part of my life. So
it was your own material.
Yeah, so we were like a punk band. So like me and my best mate from high school, we kind of started the band together. And obviously we were all friends with the people in the group. So that works as well. But then obviously you get old and you all kind of go off on your own ways. It got harder and harder to sort of get a hold of each other. I was in a punk band in high school. I played
time to join the system.
The Violent Bastards. That's a great name.
Oh,
here you go. We were called The Worst. If you want to look that, look up The Worst Melbourne Punk, and they'll probably come up somewhere on YouTube with some embarrassing videos. But yeah, it's weird. A lot of people, like I went to a show the other night. Like I hadn't been to a gig for like since pre-COVID, so it's been like nearly 3 years since I went out to like watch some bands play. And a lot of the bands that were playing were reforming for the first time in like one of them hadn't played in 20 years. Like, so since when my band first came onto the scene, we played with this band and they haven't played like since then. So it was really cool. We went to this punk gig and there was a lot of people that don't go out to those shows anymore, but they all came for this one because it was like a big reunion of an old band. And it was really cool. And, you know, I had one of the guys talking to me from the band, like saying, hey, do you miss it? And I was like, not really. Like I did definitely for a while. For a couple of years, I was like trying to start something new. And even now, like I'd be happy to start. Like I've got something kind of going with some friends, but we just been slack and not practicing or whatever. It's been like over a year now since we did anything. But yeah, like I'd like to. Like I think now I prefer just to enjoy it for what it is, rather than back then I wanted to like tour the world and do all this stuff. But yeah, definitely past that.
So a Google search turns up a couple of videos recorded at the Hart House in January 2008.
No, that wouldn't be us. Because there'd be a few. Oh wait, were you looking up?
Okay, so I put in The Worst Melbourne Punk, and the songs are called Cop Cunt.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's us. Pal, I just said cunt, everyone.
And Poor Man's Porn.
Yeah, Poor Man's Porn is probably our most popular song. And Cop Cunt. Cop Cunt was the first song I ever wrote. I was an angry young man.
And there is a Brazilian band called Worst, which also pops up here.
Yeah, I think there was some 80s sort of hardcore band as well called The Worst as well. It's not the most original name, but we did our thing. We had our moment in the sun. We supported a lot of like the bands as well that I was into. So like there's a band called the Casualties, who basically were the band that we wanted to be when we first started the band, and we got to support them when they came down here. We supported the Exploited, who were pretty big. We supported Anti Nowhere League. They were all kind of bigger bands in that sort of, it's a very niche scene, that kind of punk, but yeah, it was fun years. And then I discovered YouTube and comic books, and this is now my life. Okay. Wait. Wet dog smell. Oof. That's a rough name too.
There was this Californian photographer, sculptor, and poet who moved to Portugal in the late 80s. And in the early 90s, he helped kickstart the Portuguese hip hop movement. And he recorded a bunch of stuff with the name Ithaca, because he was of Greek descent. So the guy's name was Darren Pappas. But his most famous track internationally is not the from the Ithaca hip hop project. He was the vocalist on a tribal house track called "So Get Up," which was the first Portuguese international hit in the house music scene. They was even released by Tribal America in New York in 1992, and people who went out clubbing in the 90s actually knew the vocal, because you could hear it everywhere. They would just take out the vocal and use it as to open the floor, and it was something like, "The end of the earth is upon us. Pretty soon it'll all turn to dust. So get up, forget the past, go outside and have a blast."
That's your music scene, right? The house stuff, right?
Yeah.
I remember you talking about that a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool to discover foreign, like band, like I guess in more niche genres, like finding foreign countries. Like I used to love looking up like foreign punk bands. Like Japan had so many cool bands coming out of there. Do they have house music coming out of Japan?
Yeah, but the best electronic music in Japan is actually electronic bossa nova. Really.
No idea what that is.
Bossa nova is a sort of jazzy folk music from Brazil from back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and a bunch of guys at the time they moved to New York to record their stuff. So if you know the girl from Ipanema, that's bossa nova.
Yeah, I just think Japan has a scene for everything. Like, they're it's just so interesting to find that culture. That's why I want to go to Japan more than any other country. I want something that's completely different, and I feel like Japan's the place to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the most famous Portuguese band internationally is a metal band called Moonspell.
Yeah.
So you might want to look them up. They're pretty well known across Europe. Not sure how they are across the ponds, and I'm not sure if they ever got to Australia, but in Finland they love them.
My high school girlfriend was Finnish, and I remember she went back. She was Australian, obviously, but her mum was Finnish, so they went back to Finland to visit like family and stuff. And she found out that I think it was her cousin was in the band 69 Eyes. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're like a gothic sort of rock band, but they're pretty well known. But they're from Finland. And she brought back this CD that because she was like, "Oh, my boyfriend plays in a band," and he was like, "I'll give him this. This is my band." And then like years later, I was like, "Man, these guys are huge." Yeah, here comes all the music talk. Yeah. Have you like whereabouts have you traveled?
Oh man. Well, with the journalist job, I've been to Well, most countries in Europe, but I haven't left Europe much. We once had a media presentation in Morocco. I managed to con my boss into sending me to cover the Indianapolis 500 in the US once, and I got an invitation for a race in Dubai once. That's as far as I went.
You never travel just on your own, holiday wise, or anything like that?
Nah, I
Outside of
actually hate traveling.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Although there are some cool places to go to when you travel.
Where would you want to go?
Well, I want to watch some racing car events in the US. They got some nifty stuff that we don't have in Europe. So
NASCAR?
not even NASCAR. I want to see the Bush leagues, the minor regional tracks with tracks that are quarter miles and they use old stock cars. There's a category called super modifieds, and they look like they look like those 60s 50s roadsters made out of 1930s cars, but with Formula One wings, and they mostly race in the American Northeast nowadays. And the biggest track is in upstate New York, in a place called Oswego. So I wanted to try watching that, because those cars are pretty fast when they turn. And I want to watch some dirt stock cars, because they do very weird things to their cars when they race in the dirt. And the cars, the bodywork bends when they turn, so it looks like the car's going to fall apart. But no, it's just the aerodynamics working. And since it's usually in the shorter tracks, less than half a mile, if you have 18 cars, they're always bumping into each other in ways that the NASCAR cars don't. If the NASCAR cars bump into each other, it's a crash. It can be a bad one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know with the Grand Prix down here, they like half the streets are shut down in the city and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but at least Albert Park is closed off from traffic normally, right?
Yeah, I've been out that way for a long time. I remember being out there once in that sort of around that time, and it was interesting to see how they block everything off and they actually race on the roads. Modified sprints and thunder cars.
Yeah. The sprints are usually run by something called USAC, the United States Auto Club. Those are organized sprint cars. They're bits of tube frame that envelop the driver, and then they have a big ass V8 at the front, so the driver can actually see in front, and they always drive sideways. They're like 900 horsepower, and USAC is in charge of the non-winged sprints, and then there's something called World of Outlaws. Those have the big wings. So if the cars crash, they can actually the wings help them turn back so they can keep going.
Yeah, I think I've seen those before. I think they do some sprint. I don't know if maybe there used to be like a channel here that played like sprint car type stuff. I don't know if that was American or if that was local. Actually,
there are sprint car races in Australia. It's the only place outside North America where you actually have sprint cars.
Is like motorsport massive over where you are or something? Like, it's easy to get access to watching this stuff?
Yeah, pretty much. Eurosport has the rights to a bunch of championships. Others you have to watch on paid cable. But a lot of the championships that are pan-European, you can actually watch them in their own YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
So you don't miss out.
Jet car drag strips. Is that like the ones where they literally just drag straight?
Yeah.
With those really long cars?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
I don't usually like those ones. I mean, those engines are massive. They're tuned to use alcohol as fuel. And even though they're based on stock engines, they can rev up to 11,000 RPM. So they're really, really noisy. But since they only have to work for 10 seconds, that's okay if you do that to the engine. Although you have to open them up every time you do a 10-second run.
We used to have a song in my band called Alcohol Fueled.
What's it?
Be with a megaphone.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends who are actually into like I don't know what the hell they're talking about when they do it, but at work a lot of times I know a bunch of the guys, they go, "Oh, did you see the race last night?" I'm like, "Where are you watching this stuff? I don't even know."
Yeah. The first season I watched Australian Supercars was in '93. It was still called the Australian Touring Car Championship, and it was the last year before they made everyone use V8s. The Australian made V8s because they still had the Nissan Skyline Godzilla in there, and that car beat everything. It ruined touring car racing in a lot of countries, but everybody liked watching it. It's just that the other brands didn't want to compete, and if the other brands are not investing in the championship, it falls apart. So that was
didn't V8 Supercars just have like Holdens and Fords and stuff in there?
Yeah. So 93 was the last year for Group A regulations. In 94, everybody was forced to adopt Australian-made cars. So it was the Commodore, the Holden Commodores, and the Ford Falcons. And all the teams that had other brands, they had to move to those ones. And so they kept going. And it became, even though Holden and Ford invested a lot in it by being only two brands, it helped being more of a championship for the drivers, and the drivers taking part in the series became stars. Those were the big between 94 and 2006. Those was the biggest years for supercars. Then a few of the teams started pulling out because they were spending a lot of money, and then they conned Volvo and Mercedes into joining the championship, and it started going downhill. Now the cars are Camaros and Mustangs in Australia.
Oh, okay. My first car was a Ford Falcon. I liked it until a truck ran me off the road, and that was it.
Oh.
I'm probably going to put an end to this stream, mate. I've bagged all my books except for some of the thick ones, which won't fit in. They won't fit in the bags.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bunch of those that I couldn't get done, but I've bought it. I reckon. How many are left in my thing? I reckon
one of the things that we always complain on the Friday show on Jared Osborne's channel is that a lot of things can't function in the American market because it's all set up for this collector crap, and so any book that's outside of the regular size, it doesn't sell because you can't put it in a bag.
Yeah, well, there's this. I don't know if I can find it. I have this book that it's called Postmasters. Oh, I can't. No, I don't have it yet. But it's not magazine size. It's smaller than the magazine size. It's bigger than Silver 8. It's just this odd size, and I didn't know that when I ordered it. And like, it just showed up, and I was like, "What is this weird size? I don't know why you would do that."
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I've shown them in the past, but some of the comics that we used to have when I was a kid, and we had to import them from Brazil. I was
watching one of those on eBay recently. Yeah. There's a foreign edition.
Yeah, so these are 19 by 13.4 centimeters.
Interesting. So, I didn't know that. I would have been surprised if I bought that too. Yeah, that exact one. I was watching one of those on eBay a little while back because I was trying to get a few foreign editions of that book. So I've got the Australian reprint of the first Nightwing, but it's a completely different cover. It's like it's got the Judas contract, I think, in one sort of book. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's interesting.
One thing in a lot of countries, there's not 50 Marvel comics on the stands because they have to go to the newsstands and they have to share room with other magazines. So nobody wants to put out 50 comics. So what they do is make thicker comics and put the other characters in the book. And so they open these comics and they find it weird to find other characters in there. Like this is the New Titans, and the back, and they were already running the post-crisis books everywhere else, but they wanted to do all of the Marv Wolfman, George Perez run on the Titans. So they kept going. So there were 2 Titan stories in this one, but then there was room for a backup strip. And
Are they in color?
And it's something called The Barren Earth. And this was the backup in Warlord back in the 80s.
Wow, interesting.
And, so they just needed something that was 5 pages that it could use as a filler.
That's cool. All right, mate. Well, thanks for jumping in and keeping me company. If anyone here is not subscribed to Paolo, his link is right here. I dropped it earlier, but there it is again to make it easy for you. Check him out. You'll learn a lot. He's one of the most informative people that I've met in the community.
I haven't put out a new video in like forever. I
was like, it's been 10 months. What are you doing?
But you can see me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Graphic Man channel for the 4-color fossils, and every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Jared Osborne channel for the now I forgot the name of the show. What's the name? Jesus Christ, why did I forget the name of the show? I have this memorized all the time. The Cavern of Chaos.
There's Graphic Man for you guys as well.
Yeah.
So check those out. Thank you everyone who hung out in the chat. I appreciate it. Hopefully they'll get my hours up. I'm so close, Paolo. So close to 4,000 hours. I can smell it.
And then you can all give Simon super chats because he needs them to buy comics.
Just but YouTube takes half of that, I'm pretty sure. So, but yes, just give me my bank account details, guys. Just straight into there. All right. So thank you, chat. Have a great night. I might, if I have time, try and find some Batman books and jump across onto Bub's stream in a minute. So we'll see what happens if I have time. All right. End stream. Keep it simple.
Bye.